Hey all, thanks for replying to my videos. I'd like to reply to, let me get the thing, Nicholas Carlos Spears, is that right? I'm the same as you. I mean, when I used to work at local government level, they could give me a complex project, sort of like, convert an entire manual system to computerized system, or work on the Millennium Bug at the time, using COBOL, or a lot of things like that. But yet, filing, I used to get alphabetical order wrong. So I know where you're coming from. Mathematics, not too good, but I didn't do too badly at school either. I think it was basically due to the teachers. I think the teachers used to rush through it, or they used to just basically buff up the bright pupils to make himself look good. And my dad always said the teacher is only as good as the worst person in the class. If you can get the worst person in the class doing good at maths, then, you're something. But if you can get an A-level student, to do stuff in class, well, that's a bit different, So what? They're already clever. Mathematics to me is used in everyday life. I do finances. I enjoy working out my projected budget, how much I'm going to spend a week and how much is going to go out. Now, normally I draw out money every week, and that is what I've got. And if any goes over to the next week, then I've got more money. If I've got less money the next week, I've got less money. I draw out the same amount. Say I draw out for £40, right? Or $80 a week. Draw out 80, just randomly saying that. If I get down to zero, when I get down to zero, this is my spend money, this isn't the food or anything like that, but when I get down to zero, that is it. If I want a beer, I can't have one. If I want to go out somewhere or whatever, I can't do it. I have that money, and that's what I've got for the week, for my recreational, things. A lot of NTs, they tend to take the money out and then say, oh, right, I'll borrow from Peter to pay Paul, I'll pay myself back next week or whatever, and next week never comes because they end up doing it again and again, and that's why they get into debt. I'm happy to say that when my wife left, we split the finances, and we had about $2,000 each. And I have looked after that, and I've still got my savings. I think she blew hers, but that's her problem. I've still got my savings, and it's growing, and it's a buffer zone. It helps me to get by. If there's something I really need, like a brand new pair of jeans or whatever, or some big expensive present comes up, like a big anniversary that I have to, pitch in for or whatever, I've got that extra. So that's my mathematics. When I was at physics, I was laughed at for saying that the volts jolts and the mils kills. But I've looked it up since. It's the ampage that kills you, not the volts. And people seem to get very, it's the ampage, because it causes a reaction in the body. It's not the electricity that kills you, it's the ampage, it's the spike in the current. In my opinion. You might have a different opinion of that. I also told them that teleports will be available in thousands of years to come. I was also laughed at then. Again, they've now managed to move a particle light from one section to another. So basically creating a teleport. Okay, it's hardly Star Trek, but it's getting there. And it's against all the laws of physics. Even Einstein said that time could be bended. So I've always thought out of the box. I also said that they would find a way past the 1 gigabyte limit. It's laughable now. I mean, you can get MP3 plays at 1 gigabyte, But everyone laughed again. I said that they'd have 20 gig hard drives in 2000, and they all laughed. I mean, now look at it. I mean, you can have 1 terabyte hard drives that you can slap into the USB. So there you have it, So I've always thought out of the box. I've always been laughed at, and then I've always been proven right. Which is good, because they turn around and they say, God, Steve was right about that. He was bloody right. He was, what bloody how did he know? I did the same with Doctor Who, if you ever watched that programme. I worked out, you know, that Rose was going to stay with the Doctor, with the human Doctor and whatever, and everybody said, how the hell did you work that out? You know Russell T. Do you know the person who produces the programme? No, I've just got that insight. I'm just good at those things. But like, you know, simple things, I find confusing. Sort of making a phone call. I can make phone calls, but I get very nervy about them. I'm better face to face, really. I mean, I think I'm better face to face. I definitely do. So, yeah, I see exactly where you're coming from. Exactly where you're coming from. But, if you've ever heard of the Atlanteans, they seem to be very aspy. They were very, very methodical. And there's an actual palace in Kos. I think it's in Kos. And it's just advanced beyond time. It's got flipping... They had toilet facilities. They had drainage facilities. They had hot and cold running water and everything. How did they do it? Well, you could probably laugh and say, well, flip me, you know, who cares, you know, that's normal, isn't it? We're talking before Christ here. Even the Romans didn't have this, or town planning. Absolutely incredible. It predated the Romans by 1,000 and odd years. Absolutely incredible. They were geniuses. They had this thing that allowed the light to come in, and they didn't have electricity, but they had this thing that lit up all the rooms that they wanted using a special prism system. And oh my God, you know, you just got to look at it to believe it. If you want to know, on YouTube, type in Lost Worlds Atlantis or History Channel Atlantis, and it's there, and it's well worth looking at. So we think out of the box. And maybe people are bored with that. Maybe people would rather talk about what the latest soap opera is showing. I prefer to think out the box. I've always done it. I always think, what the hell's coming next? How, you know, what technology's going to come next? Computers, are they going to get smaller? Well, the only thing that stops them from getting smaller is the hard drives, but the hard drives are getting smaller now, and I reckon once they perfect those secure digital cards, you know, those smart media cards, that will be your hard drive in the future. You'll just slap it in and it will have like 1 terabyte on a little piece of plastic. So I had these ideas ages ago. I've still got the one of me when I was a kid, before Bill Gates invented DOS, talking about computers and how, and I'm making up something and everybody's laughing because they're thinking, oh God, you know, Steve's going on with his weird ideas again. But again, it came true. And my dad's also had ideas that have come true, like flat screen tellies and that. He had that idea years ago. And he had ideas of a pub chain, which is now called Weatherspoons. He had that idea years ago, where people could come in and they could see like a telly and they could, you know, and everybody, all communities could get together. So it's just having the money, isn't it? It's just having the money. It's like the bloke who invented Dysons. He was turned down loads of times. So there you have it. I prefer to be AS, thank you very much, rather than some stupid NT that doesn't have a clue about the world. Okay, take care. Bye for now.